We never return to Assassin's Creed.
Come, we must hurry. Such a climb. È così bello qui. This is where your order began?
It began thousands of years ago, but here it was reborn.
By the man you mentioned, Altaïr?
Altaïr ibn La'ahad. He built us up and set us free. He saw the folly of keeping a castle like this. It had become a symbol of arrogance and a beacon for all our enemies.
And the mandate for menacing hoods? Was that his idea as well? You mentioned a creed before. What is it?
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
That is rather cynical.
It would be if it were doctrine, but it is merely an observation of the nature of reality. To say that nothing is true is to realize that the foundations of society are fragile, and that we must be the shepherds of our own civilization. To say that everything is permitted is to understand that we are the architects of our actions, and that we must live with their consequences, whether glorious or tragic.
Do you regret your decision to live as an assassin for so long?
I do not remember making that decision. This life, it chose me. For 3 decades, I have served the memory of my father and my brothers, and fought for those who have suffered the pain of injustice. I do not regret those years, but it is time to live for myself, and let them go. To let go of all of this.
Then let go. You will not fall far.
I thought that maybe we'd actually got to the end there, and then they gave me the anticlimax.
The end of the road.
What do you hope to find behind that door?
Knowledge, above all else. Altaïr was a profound man and a prolific writer. He built this place as a repository for all his wisdom. He saw many things in his life, and learned many secrets, both troubling and strange. Knowledge that would drive lesser men to despair.
Does that worry you?
Sophia, you should know by now that I am not a lesser man.
Ezio.
No, no, no. Surely they're not all part of this.
You had better come out of there alive.
I plan to.
So which bad guy did we leave alive that he can have her hostage when we come back?
No books. No wisdom. Just you, fratello mio. Requiescat in pace, Altaïr. You have seen to my books.
Yes. Some we sent with the Polos. The rest will go with me to Alexandria.
Good. Very good.
Father, I do not understand. Why did you build a library if you did not intend to keep your books?
You should go. When the Mongols return, Masyaf must be empty.
I see. This is not a library at all. It is a vault.
It must stay hidden, Darim. Far from eager hands. At least until it has passed on the secret it contains.
What secret?
Go, son. Go be with your family. And live well.
All that is good in me began with you, Father.
In much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
What does it tell you? What do you see?
Strange visions and messages of ones who came before, of their rise and their fall.
But what happens to us, Altaïr? To our family? What does the apple say?
Who were the ones who came before? What brought them here? How long ago?
Get rid of that thing!
This is my duty, Maria. Maria? Where are you? Where is she? If you are asked, say I sent the apple away. Tell them I sent it to Cyprus, or Cipango, or that I dropped it into the sea. Tell them anything to keep men away from this place. This apple must not be found. Not until the time is right.
Stay a while and rest. It's just, it's really damn bizarre why they thought it would be good to just have these walking sequences in between the cutscenes like that. That's all it is. There's absolutely no reason for me, as Altaïr, to have walked down the corridor and put out the lights. You know, just going between... Just put it as a cinematic and be done with it.
Another artifact. No. You will stay here. I have seen enough for one life. Desmond?
He's talking to me?
I heard your name once before, Desmond. A long time ago. And now it lingers in my mind, like an image from an old dream. I do not know where you are, or by what means you can hear me. But I know you are listening. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, but drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon. And here at last, I discover a strange truth. That I am only a conduit for a message that eludes my understanding. Who are we, who have been so blessed, to share our stories like this? To speak across centuries. Maybe you will answer all the questions I have asked. Maybe you will be the one to make all this suffering worth something in the end. Now, listen.
Do you hear me, Cypher? Can you see me? Ah, there you are. Good. A strange place, this nexus of time. I am not used to the calculations. That has always been Minerva's domain. I see you still have many questions. Who were we? What became of us? What do we desire of you? You will have your answers. Only listen, and I will tell you how. Both before the end and after, we sought to save the world. We built vaults within which to work, each dedicated to a different method of salvation. They were placed underground to avoid the war which raged above, and also as a precaution should we fail in our efforts. Each vault's knowledge was transmitted to a single place. It was our duty, mine, Minerva's, and Juno's, to sort and sample all that was collected. We chose those solutions which held the most promise, and devoted ourselves to testing their merits. 6 we tried in succession, each more encouraging than the last, but none worked. And then the world ended.
No, I don't really, volumes are just all over the damn place in this game. And I probably should be talking over this too, otherwise I'm going to get copyright just because it's going to take this whole sequence and be like, oh look. Because that happens. So even though they're explaining more and more about this story, I still don't know what the hell's going on.
The earth shook for days, the fires burned for weeks, and when the ash had settled, less than 10,000 of your kind still lived, and far fewer of ours. But we carried on, together, to rebuild, to renew. Listen, you must go there, to the place where we labored and lost. Take my words. Pass them from your head into your hands. That is how you will open the way. But be warned, much still remains in flux, and I do not know how things will end, either in my time or yours.
We're still going on with the cinematic? Holy crap. It may as well have just been a movie.
Wait, look, his vitals are stabilizing. Something's happening. He's moving.
Desmond, can you hear me? Son?
I know what we need to do.
Well, I don't even know. This definitely didn't add much to the previous games, which, you know, at that point, why even bother? But even more than, like, the first part of this trilogy, Assassin's Creed 2, they tried to add so much that just wasn't necessary. I mean, you know, like the being dragged behind the horse cart thing was a mechanic that didn't come into play until the end of the game with the parachute. And I don't know, was it the previous game to this was when we had the sequences with the tank and all that? But even the mini games in that one were still more frequent than this one. It was like the beginning and then the end, and that was the only time you ever had to know those, as well as the base defense aspect that just seemed like an absolute pain in the ass. And then where is it? Just never had to go through that again. And I also dislike how the game just in general is programmed. I mean, the extra content, I don't know how to access that except through the menu. Going through Desmond's memories there at the beginning on the Animus Island. It would have been nice to have been able to go through those, or at least know that we weren't going to be able to go back to those at some point prior to getting into that. But with the game crashing, well, not crashing, it doesn't crash when I go into those. It closes this game and opens a different instance of those memories, which probably would have told me who Bill was and we're reconstructing the Animus Island. Oh, okay. Well, if it's like the last games, it leaves it open-ended so you can keep it playing around and exploring. So maybe, now that it's reconstructed the islands, we'll be able to go back into there? Because if so, then I will go into those memories. Otherwise, I'm not going to bother starting all over just to go into them. But yeah, I don't know, it just felt really weak. Like, they ran out of ideas for what they could do to make it different. And again, just the walking parts of some of those cinematics, it's just absolutely unnecessary. You walk a little bit, and then you get trapped into another thing, and then you walk a little bit more, and you get trapped in, and it's just, my God, what is the point? I would have rather just had all that be shown as either a cutscene or QuickTime. And I know, especially at the time this game came out, there was probably when they were overdoing QuickTime events in games, so they probably tried to avoid that. But it makes more sense, you know. It just makes way more sense to do that. And there kind of was one right there at the end, but it wasn't really. I mean, the whole, you know, hold the trigger and press this and do that. Just give me a fucking button. Just tell me hit A, hit X, whatever, and then we'll continue on with the sequence. Even that was just thrown in there. A lot of this game just felt thrown in. Just absolutely unnecessary. And carrying over from the previous couple games, where they give you just a huge inventory of shit, including the bombs. Now, the bomb making that they threw in there, none of it's necessary. You can get this game done with like 3 tools, because it follows the formula from the first game, and that's all you need. And I think that speaks a lot to the development of the game, that they couldn't find a way to make the game more interesting, so they shoehorned in game mechanics that were not fully realized to try and make it feel different or special or whatever. It's just not effective in my opinion. It doesn't really add to the game at all. I am glad, though, that they kept the Animus part of this to a minimum and just sort of kept it all within Ezio's little timeline there. But then again, maybe that would have broken it up in other ways that they wouldn't have had to, because that's kind of how the chapters were punctuated in the first game, right? After you killed your assassin, whatever, Desmond would wake up, and then you'd talk to a few people, and then you'd go back in. Well, no, actually, in the first game, you were stuck in Abstergo, finding the secrets. But anyway, I mean, point is, like, that kind of broke up the monotony of the story, where this game, because it stayed within the simulation, maybe it was missing a little bit of that. Although, you know, I mean, coming back to the island here every now and then to talk to Mystery Man, the test subject. I guess he was the test subject who left the blood trail in the Abstergo thing. I don't remember the number. But him being trapped in the Animus as a consciousness or whatever, I don't know. Does that come into play later in the game? Because it wasn't terribly interesting. The whole Animus thing just isn't interesting in my opinion, but I felt that way in the first game. So it'll be interesting to see. Number 3 is, I think that takes place in the Americas, the colonies. And then 4 is the pirate one that everybody liked. I think I've also got Origin. I don't know, there were a bunch of games that were on sale at some point, and I grabbed them all up cheap. But I am missing quite a few of them, because there's like, well, all the multiplayer stuff, like the Syndicate, Unity. Let's see, the new ones are the Odyssey and Valhalla, or whatever it is. I don't have any of those. I don't know. As always, this will be one of those games where I put it away for a while, just completely disgusted with it, and then about a year from now, I'll be like, oh yeah, I should play that again, and then I'll bring out number 3. The games, I mean, I don't know. It's like a bad TV show, you know it's going to be crap, but I feel like it. So, we'll see. The games don't do well on my channel anyway, so there's not a huge incentive for that, but whatever, I play what I want. This one definitely felt shorter, though. Because where are we at? Maybe 20 episodes for this? Usually goes a lot longer. But it's also for a completionist if you want it to go longer, and there's no reason to have a completionist here. In the first game, the more you completed, the longer your health bar, and I think that's it, actually. Maybe it just gave you more. I forget what it added. But there was actually benefit to unlocking more, and in this game I don't feel like there was. My health bar did go up, but I think that was just investing, because I didn't do much of anything else. I didn't find all the books. I don't know why I'd want to, because you could buy some of the books, and then you'd find others in dungeons that weren't nearly as difficult. I mean, even that, from, I don't know, was it Assassin's Creed 2? Where we ended up climbing through the cathedrals and all that. Even that part, I felt, as annoying as it was more interesting to have those dungeons where you'd go into them and you'd have like the climbing and the jumping and all that stuff to get to the very tip top of a cathedral to, you know, find the hidden chamber for Altaïr's costume or whatever the hell. This game just it simplified a lot, like oversimplified a lot. Because when you do find the book dungeons, they're not that hard. When you do find the walking sequences, just it gives you control for about 5 seconds, and then you meet something that triggers a dialogue, and then you walk a little bit more, and then it's pointless. Absolutely pointless. It felt like they ran out of ideas. Like they wanted a trilogy for Ezio, and they just didn't know how to close it out. How long does this go on? Alright, well, I'll come back when this nonsense is over and see if we can get into Ezio's memories. Alright. God, that took like 15 minutes, I'm not even joking. And it puts us right back in here. So, I guess that means we can probably go complete that, which I will not be doing, or go check out those now. Because it does close the game and thus my recording software, I will be doing videos once I am inside. It looks like there's 5 of them, maybe 6. This one doesn't look to be active. Plus whatever DLC stuff they threw in, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'll end this one here. I'll see you next time.